Grace and welcome to my channel and welcome to another layout. This is my spinner and I'm trying to see what my next prompt will be for my A to Z challenge. This is where I have created some prompts and they are alphabetical. So I picked a specific prompt or product that would go with that alphabet, and then I have a spinner and I'm just kind of going through trying to see what I can use up in my scrapbook space. So the prompt for the day, the letter was O, and my prompt for that is 1, meaning like single items that I'm holding on to. So I showed you in a little plate, it's a paper plate, and I showed you all of like the onesies that I have just laying in my stash. And these are like, maybe they're not quite onesies, but they're like little pieces left of a thicker set, or like one die cut that I made a lot of die cuts and I have this one single one. Or maybe they're not single, maybe there are a couple of them, but it's basically these little one-off things that are left over from other pages, other projects, and I am holding on to them. Now, maybe for some they like that to hold on to, and I gotta say I like that too, because you never know what you're gonna use it for. But then there comes a time when that stash of yours just gets a little too much to handle, and so you're left with all of these little pieces that you don't know what to do with. And so that's kind of the situation that I found myself into, and so I wanted to kind of use as much of them up as I can. I think that having that kind of practice once in a while is good for our creativity, kind of just everything but the kitchen sink kind of thing. But it also is good because then we're using up the stuff that we're holding on to for a long time. So I have this kind of light blue washed out kind of pattern paper. I don't know what you call them, but anyways, I actually got that for another layout recently, and that was the leftover. So I'm using that one as a base, and then I did grab a full 12 by 12 yellow cardstock and then matted the blue one onto that. I like the blue because it has some kind of a wave feeling, which really supports the pictures that I have here. I have 4 3x4 photos and they're all landscape, and these are pictures of my youngest. This was actually, I want to say 4 years ago, if not 3 to 4 years ago, and this is the first time that he actually enjoyed playing in the water. We always go to the beach once a year when we go to Southern California and see our family there, and then he never really wanted to go in the water until this one, and it's just so fun to watch him to enjoy. Finally, some things are clicking, and he enjoyed his time in the water. So I wanted to document that for him. Now again, I matted the photos and matted it with white, and so that's kind of what I did first. I put the background photos, and then I put the background paper and then the photos, and then kind of now playing. Again, the goal that I have here is to use as much of these little bits and pieces that I have and just put them on a layout. So I kind of have a design in mind, but sometimes you sketch everything out. I didn't do that with this particular one because I know that it needs to be some flexibility when I'm creating this layout, because I don't know where everything would go, where everything would look good, and things like that. So I usually kind of prep everything out and then glue afterwards, but because the goal is to use as much of this, everything but the kitchen sink kind of idea, I am going like finding spot and then gluing it, finding spot and gluing it. Now, is that the smart thing to do? Maybe not in the long run, but I like that kind of free flow once in a while, because then you don't have to think too hard, right? You just kind of glue or adhere and then move on. And I feel like that kind of process has a time and a place. There needs to also be a time where you need to really plan things out so that you don't waste time and also you don't waste products. But again, I feel like there's always a time and a place for everything. And so an example of that would be the title. I'm not sure if I'm digging the title Go Dream, but I was able to use a few of those stickers, so I'm gonna go with that. Another thing that I decided that to do was to make sure that I am not adhering the edges of the items that I adhere or I stick to the layout, because then I have the option to tuck in things here and there as I see fit, like what I'm doing here with the pink frame. I made sure that I didn't adhere the brown paper as well as my photo block, not adhere it on the edges because I want to be able to tuck things there. And like I said, I am just kind of finding places where things will go, and then when I kind of think, okay, that will work, then just moving on and adhering it so that I don't have to think too much of it. And then if they're not working, then I will move on to the next element. But I have to say that I did manage to use quite a bit of these little bits and pieces, not a whole lot. There's still some leftovers, but I also noticed that most of the leftovers are just like bigger pieces that just wouldn't fit being tucked in here and there, with this layout already growing as it is. But the little bits and pieces I was able to use. So as you can see, I'm using this silver die cut leaf and then this other leaf that was cut from paper, and then I am going to put a star with a butterfly in the middle, because they don't make sense as a whole, but they're just kind of cool as an accent, so I'm going to go with that kind of mentality here. As you can see, that gray paper, it has a block over a white block, and I am actually going to use that as my journaling spot. And so I'm leaving that there for my handwritten journaling in that I'm going to do later. So a lot of these things, again, like I said, are leftovers from previous projects. So you probably have seen me, if you've watched this channel for a while, you will see some of these items that have already kind of been part of layouts from previous videos. And then I just have these, again, random thickers. I have like a bunch of dots and stars, so I'm just kind of combining them here and there. I'll still trying to stay within that, visual triangle kind of thing. Although, as you can see, there's a lot of elements going around the photos, but it's also trying to maintain the principle of balance here, where kind of everything is going around the photos so that it will still lead the eye right in the middle where the photos are. And I like that the photos are actually lighter in color, because it is kind of, it's a contrast with the other elements that I already have here. And I have this key, don't know where it was, don't know where I got it from or where it was originally supposed to go to, but I'm going to adhere that to my layout because why not, Again, it doesn't mean anything, but it's kind of cool. So I'm going to add that there for a little texture, like a metal kind of accent there. And then I am going to handwrite my journaling, and then I will be adding a few more Nouveau drops here and there, and then call it good. Thank you so much for watching. If you like these videos, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing, and let me know which accent was your favorite in this kind of hodgepodge of a layout. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye now.